Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're tackling a really fascinating question. How is it that top-tier organizations don't just, handle failures, but actually engineer them completely out of existence? It's pretty amazing. We're going to dive right into the mechanics of corrective and preventive actions and talk about this massive shift we're seeing toward risk-based thinking. Looking at our agenda for today, we're going to cover 5 main areas. First, when quality systems fail. Second, correction versus corrective action. Third, understanding preventive action. Fourth, embracing risk-based thinking. And finally, driving continual improvement. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. When quality systems fail.
In any complex operation, absolute perfection is simply impossible, right? Things are going to go wrong occasionally. So I want you to think about your own environment for a second. When you're suddenly faced with a process deviation, or maybe a piece of equipment just completely fails, how does your team react? Are you scrambling to just put out the fire? Or do you have a systemic approach in place to make absolutely sure that exact same fire never sparks again?
Now, to really tackle these failures, we need to align our language with the ISO 9000 standard. Specifically, we need to talk about the term non-conformity. And really, it's just exactly what it sounds like, the non-fulfillment of a requirement. That could be a bad production batch, or maybe a deviation from standard procedures. Basically, it's our universal trigger letting us know that, hey, a system has failed to perform the way we intended.
Section 2. Correction versus corrective action.
So the future stability of your organization really comes down to how you respond to those nonconformities. There's a really sharp contrast here that's super important. A correction is simply eliminating the immediate problem. Think of it like cleaning up a spill on the factory floor. It's basically treating a symptom with a Band-Aid. But a corrective action, that's a whole different ballgame. That means eliminating the actual root cause of the nonconformity so it never happens again. It's not just mopping up the spill. It's figuring out why it spilled in the first place. Like, oh, maybe a valve is structurally flawed, right? So you replace the valve. Corrective action is finding the root cause to cure the disease itself, not just the symptom. And to actually achieve that permanent cure, ISO 9001 lays out a very specific roadmap. First, react and control the immediate issue. Second, evaluate and analyze the root cause. Third, implement the necessary fix. But then there's step 4, and man, this is the one so many teams just skip right over. Review. Did that new valve actually stop the spills? Because without reviewing the effectiveness of your action, your root cause analysis is honestly just guesswork. Section 3. Understanding preventive action. Okay, so how do we evolve from just reacting to things and start stopping problems before they even happen? Well, that brings us to preventive action. It's a subtle but massive shift. If a corrective action prevents a recurrence, a preventive action prevents an occurrence. Going back to our medical analogy for a second, if a corrective action is treating a disease, preventive action is like adopting a healthy lifestyle and getting vaccinated. It's looking ahead.
You can really see how high-stakes industries apply this when we look at the pharmaceutical ICH Q10 standard. The Corrective and Preventive Action System, or CAPA, isn't just something you bolt on to commercial manufacturing. Not at all. It literally starts way back in pharmaceutical development, carries right through technology transfer, and goes all the way into product discontinuation, just to make sure we're still evaluating the impact on products that might still be out on the market. It is a complete, total life cycle approach.
Section 4. Embracing risk-based thinking.
So how exactly have modern standards evolved to integrate this kind of mindset? There's this incredibly powerful quote from the ISO 9001 2015 standard that says, one of the key purposes of a quality management system is to act as a preventative tool. It's so fundamental that modern ISO 9001 actually doesn't even have a separate preventative action clause anymore. You know why? Because the entire system, the whole shebang, is inherently designed to be proactive.
This entire evolution is captured in a concept called risk-based thinking. And honestly, it is a massive strategic shift for any business. Instead of just sitting around waiting for failures to pop up, you are proactively determining the factors that could cause deviations. You're putting preventative controls in place right out of the gate, and you're actually using that uncertainty to maximize your opportunities. Proactive risk assessment stops being an afterthought and becomes a completely foundational part of how the organization plans.
The really crucial point here is how this risk-based thinking gets injected directly into the famous Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. Specifically, think about that plan phase. You aren't just establishing objectives and figuring out your resources anymore. You are explicitly addressing risks right from the very start. It literally forces organizations to look uncertainty right in the face up front, which ensures that every single step after that is totally fortified against potential failures.
Section 5. Driving Continual Improvement.
When we finally bring all of these concepts together, the corrective actions, the preventive actions, and that risk-based thinking, we realize we have to balance two really vital forces: continual improvement and innovation. Now, continual improvement absolutely hates failure, right? It's all about recurring activity in a highly controlled environment just to increase our ability to fulfill existing requirements. But innovation? That's a different beast. Innovation embraces managing high uncertainty and high risk to deliver totally new breakthrough value. In the world of innovation, failing 900 times isn't a disaster at all. It's actually the necessary learning process you have to go through to finally make the light bulb work.
So to safely navigate both of these worlds, the highly controlled world of continual improvement and the super risky world of innovation, organizations need a few essential enablers. First, you need knowledge management to actually capture what you're learning from every single success and failure. Second, you need quality risk management to proactively identify and control those potential risks. And third, absolutely crucially, you need change management. You have to ensure that as you update and adapt, you aren't inadvertently introducing brand new nonconformities right back into your system.
As we've seen today, unmanaged change is simply one of the biggest causes of system failure out there. But on the flip side, properly managed risk breeds absolutely incredible innovation. The tools to do this are literally right in front of us: getting good at root cause analysis, building robust corrective and preventative actions, and really fostering a culture of risk-based thinking. So the question I want to leave you with today is this: how will your organization embrace and manage risk to drive its own future? I really want you to think about that as you look at your own processes this week. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to catch up with you on our next topic.